sewing room. I'm Tia and this is Dorset.Threads. So I'm a little bit bleary-eyed and tired. I've had a long day yesterday. I was lucky enough to go to the Knit and Stitch show in London, Alexandra Palace, and I went with a group of friends from the social that I go to that is run by Carly from Rooted Fabrics. Just to let you know, I'm wearing my comfies today. So this is a Ali Olsen Hive pullover. Grab the pattern for you. I don't know if you can see it, can't really see it any better, but yeah, it's just like a half zip scenario going on. Yeah, I had an early start, as I say, because it was a long day yesterday, and we all met up. It was only about half an hour away from me for the minibus pickup, and Carly, who runs the social that I go to, so she's the designer and creator for Rooted Fabrics, and she also has workshops that she runs, sewing workshops. There's a social, and yeah, she's just a ball of energy, really good fun. And there was a group of us that were quite keen to go to the Knit and Stitch show, and she sort of said she might be able to arrange something for us. So yes, we all decided that we would go together on the minibus. So there were 17 of us, and we met our lovely driver Tyrone, and we got on the bus and we headed off, and we had a really good journey, and we stopped for a cup of tea on the way, and we arrived about 10 to 10, which was perfect. Drew up right outside the entrance, and there was obviously a big queue already there. Lots of eager people, you know, waiting to get in. And we joined the queue, and within moments, really, they opened the doors and we headed in. And once the queue started moving, we were in really swiftly, actually. It was really quick. For the amount of people that were waiting to get in, it did go really quickly. And you go through into sort of the outer area, which is, I think, the Palm Court area. And it's got these fantastic windows, and it's all very light and airy, and these huge palms, and there's like a cafe there. And we'd sort of arranged that if we wanted to meet up later, we could do our own thing or go around together, but if we wanted to meet up later, we would meet there at a certain time to chat and have a cup of tea, and yeah, just see how we got on. So we're in the outer Palm Court area where I'd said, you know, we'd arranged to meet up later. And there was also a cloak room there that you could leave your bag or coat. And obviously, if you had bags to fill, you could come backwards and forwards and fill those up, so you didn't have to be laden down with all your purchases. And then you went through, and the first part that you went through was the textile art exhibition. I'm sorry, I'm just reading my notes. And there was also an area where you could sign up for workshops. There was workshops running throughout the day for different crafts and techniques, and that was all sort of laid out as you went through. And the exhibition area was all sort of things that had been made, crafty things that had been made by graduates. There was a graduate showcase, and there was galleries and textile arts, and I took a picture next to this fantastic piece of art. It just absolutely vibrant colours in it, and I just couldn't resist. One of the first stalls I saw was Tilly and the Buttons, and Tilly was there with Abby. I said hello, and she had a new pattern release, which I might have picked up. And then the infamous Balmanella Fabrics label vending machine and Tanya. And then into the main room, absolutely glorious glass window, a very large room. There was people here, but not overly busy. You could get round and see where all the stands were. So I took a look at my list and the map, and off I went. So my plan was that I'd written a list of things that I wanted to keep an eye out for, that I was looking for. I wanted for future projects, so that I had those and I wouldn't just be completely going rogue, and I'd have some sort of idea of what I was looking for. And I had thought that I would methodically walk round. I had a map. I actually doubled back and got a map, because I just figured the size of the actual place, I was going to get lost pretty quick. So I picked up a map and got a floor plan. I needed to know, one, how to get back out to meet the guys later for lunch, and also where the toilets were, and you know, where all the stands were. And because I had a list of places that I wanted to go and see, specific places, stands that I wanted to go and see, I knew that I could make a beeline for those. So yeah, originally I was going to walk around, but no, I just decided to go by my list of these places that I wanted to go and see, and also drawn by the pretty things that caught my eye. And then I thought later on in the day, because we had all day, I could kind of take my time moseying about and take in all the little extras that were there. But I had a plan that I wanted to go and see certain places before it got too busy, because I've been forewarned that Saturday was one of the busiest days. And yeah, if I wanted to see certain things, then it's probably best to go and see those early. So this was the Janome stand, and they had lots on offer that you could look at and sit down and have a play with, and all sorts of price ranges and staff there to help you decide which you might like. And then on to the Brothers stand. And as you can see, they had a full range of machines out for you to see and to try. They were just amazing to watch. And I may have had a little play on one myself. A little further along was the stage area, and there was a show list. This would become a very busy area later on in the day. And then this was outside the Prosecco bar area. So yeah, so I made a beeline for the places that I wanted to see, as I said, on my list. And one of the very first things at the very top of my list was I wanted to have a look at a few sewing machines. And I wanted to get to those stands because I figured they'd be very busy, with lots of people giving them a whirl and trying them out. And there was a couple of brands there that I wanted to compare. So that was the place I went to first. So I carried on following my list and looking at my map and walking around finding my heavy hitters that I wanted to see. And as you could see, I found the Prosecco area, which is basically when you book tickets, you can book a standard entry, or there's a bronze, silver or gold VIP ticket as well, which might include hot drinks, or an area where you can go to have some lunch, or even entry to the Prosecco bar. And obviously that gives you somewhere that you can go and sit and have a drink, have a little chat. And yeah, it depends really what your day wants to involve. But I just had the standard entry ticket, and I carried on looking around the hall and following my map.
I suppose I've got to make you a
So I found the Fabric Godmother stand and had a cheeky look around there and all the glorious fabrics, and then on to Little Rosy Cheeks and Generates, and they were on the same sort of stand, and she just had so many labels. It was just absolutely amazing to see them all together. Met and said hello to Victoria and moved on. There was lots of activity around the rainbow fabric stand already, which I kind of predicted. I had a look and I thought I could double back later. Why does the name Ruan pop into my head right now? This stand got super busy later in the day and definitely helped to see the kits already made up. I felt the need to have a little sit down, some food and a chat, so I met my friends for lunch. So after lunch I went back in the main room and started looking at the stands that I hadn't already seen, and it was noticeably busier and the room was getting much warmer, lots of bodies about, and I wanted to take in some of the stands that I hadn't seen, as I said. And yeah, and the stage show started up. You could hear the sounds of you know, the music and people clapping and whatnot. So yeah, I went back in the main room. There was some amazing jewellery here, every colour you would want to mix and match with your outfits. Absolutely perfect, really love those. This is the Stylecraft catwalk show from a little earlier.
buying the dog is the insurance.
as you can see, as more and more people poured in, it got busier and busier. This octopus quilt was a real head turner. And then I found these cheeky craft mugs. Some were a little rude. Loved all the colours on this stand. It's webbing that you can use for handles, for bags or whatnot. All the rainbow colours, couldn't resist, had to get a couple of those. Absolutely loved the display, it was great. There were pretty things everywhere. Watched the We Three Queens drag catwalk show and then met friends outside for drinks, had a chat, and then think of heading home. Everyone present and correct, the end to a glorious day out. Thank you, Ali Pally. So yeah, we got back in our minibus with our driver Tyrone, did the head count, everybody's present and correct, loaded up all our goodies and headed home. It was like a 2.5 hour, I think it was, journey back. So what's the little haul I brought home? What did I buy? As you can see, I took a rucksack with me. I kept my valuables in a little bestie bag close to me, and I'd also taken my huge cow bag so that I would have plenty of room to carry anything I might buy. But I did have a list, as I said, and I did have a mind to what I wanted to buy. I also took along my colour swatch of colours that I'm trying to aim towards, that I know that suit me really well. So if I saw anything that really took my fancy, I could whip that out and just double check whether it was just an impulse buy or whether it would work for me. Went to Bornella Fabrics and used her label vending machine for £1. You just get a random label, and I got this one, which I thought was quite cute, warm and toasty. I will definitely be using that. This is the right season, isn't it, to pop it into something warm, and little sweetie was in there as well. And then obviously she had her labels, so I got a pack of those as well. And I went for the Let's Hibernate collection, which is ones for all the warm makes, and like secret pajamas, cold hand warm hearts, and then more of the warm and toasty labels. So I really loved those. And very close, but actually opposite that stand, was the Tilly and the Buttons stand. So opposite her stand was the Tilly and the Buttons. I said hello to her, and she had a garment rail with all the makes on there. I did buy the new Tilly and the Buttons pattern, but it's not being released till Wednesday, although it has been shown on social media. Yeah, it's a dress, and I thought I really love that. I'll elaborate on that in another time. And when I met Victoria at Little Rosy Cheeks, I decided to pick up another one of her label folders. They're really super handy, because the one that I've got at the moment, I tend to put all my inseam labels at the start of the folder, and then as you go towards the back, it's the flat ones that you sort of just sew around, and I want to keep those sort of separate. I've also got a lot of patches because I make things for my grandchildren, so I thought it might be ideal to have one for inseam labels and one for flat labels that you put on the outer or on the outside, that you would sort of satin stitch round, and patches. So I picked up another one of those, and I'm going to have no trouble filling it because I took full advantage of her little deal that she had going on. So I actually did pick up 5 packs of labels, and I think, if I remember rightly, yeah, you also get a little free one. So I picked up Made by Nanny. They will definitely be used. The Fabulous and Woohoo, which I really love. Me Made and Handmade in this colourway. I've got some of the other colourway of those, so I know they'll be used. And similarly, the Me Made, they don't show up very well on the camera. They're like a deep blue. I've got the deep green ones already, and I love those. And then, of course, the 2026, ready to put in my stash to start using. I'm going to start using them in January, not leave it till halfway through the year this time. And yeah, I was really pleased with those labels. That was definitely on my list because I hadn't bought any labels for a few months and I wanted to go and select the ones that I wanted. So yeah, I'm really pleased with those. I had some tools on my list which were pretty mundane really, but they're on my list because they're those things that I always said, oh, I wish I had or I could do more of. I ought to pick that up. I'm going to a craft show, a sewing show. I ought to pick them up while I'm there. So yeah, just simply some of the pins that I really like, and that's a really reasonable price. These ones are really good because they're very sharp and very skinny type pins. They sort of seem to go into the fabric really well. So I picked those up. And I picked up one of these mats because I use a lot of interfacing and I could do with a mat because I tend to just use like a baking sheet and yeah, it's getting a bit dogged. So I picked up one of those. That was from Banyans. And similarly on another store, I picked up a seam roller because I found with some fabrics when I'm pressing them, you get the shine and then you're worried that you've sort of burnt or singed the fabric. And I thought if I've got a seam roller, I saw a friend using one, I thought that's a brilliant idea. I must pick one of those up. But it's the sort of thing that you never get around to doing. So that was on my list. You saw on the video that I found this fantastic stand called Eliphaz. Never heard of it before. Absolutely wonderful display. All the colours that you could think of all these webbings for bags and whatnot. And I picked up these two, sort of tealy green type colourways. Yeah, I picked up those two. So I was really pleased with those because it's something I've not really seen before, those designs. So that was quite unique. Similarly, you saw the mugs that were on display by Fabric Chicks. And I picked up a card when I seen their stand and I said to them, I really love these mugs and I will be back. I'm sure lots of people say that, I will be back. But I knew that if I bought one and put it in my bag, I'm the sort of person that would put it in my bag, completely forget, pop my bag down, crack the mug, game over. So I knew that I was going to come back to their stand. So whether or not they believed me or not is another matter. But I did go back and I went back for a PG one, not the ones with the swear words on. And I decided to get this one. It started out as a harmless hobby and I had no idea it would come to this. That is the embodiment of where I am. But I thought that was quite a good keepsake and a reminder of the show. And yeah, I will definitely get some use out of that. So I picked up that little guy. When I was meeting my friends at lunch, we sort of all had a chat about what we bought, what we'd seen. Have you seen this? Have you seen that? And someone mentioned that they'd seen some bits and pieces that I hadn't spotted. And so when I went back into the main hall, I thought I'm going to seek them out. They told me where to find them. And actually, when I went there, they were back there anyway because they'd gone back to take a second look. And it was the stall, I think it was called Thimbles and Fabrics. And they were actually at the Farnborough Craft Show and I picked up the zip pulls from those. So yeah, I had a look around, but I hadn't sort of gone around the end or the corner where they had gone. And they had seen this cork fabric. And yeah, I was really keen to go and have a look at it because I hadn't really ever come across cork fabric and I thought, oh, that'd be quite good. You know, now I'm sort of dipping my toe into making a few little bags and pouches and things. I might go and have a look at that. And it was reasonably priced. And this one has got sort of some goldy colour going through it. Ah, you can see it there. But it really surprised me because I didn't expect it to feel like it does. When you think cork, I always think of the old cork tiles that are very stiff and, you know, how do you use anything like that for bagging? But this is really soft. So I picked up some of that and then directly behind it, they had a sort of a basket there with some faux leather in. So I picked up a couple of those as well. I've got some fabric coming for a bag that I want to make as an overnight sort of duffel bag that I might actually think about taking to Plymouth Frocktails if it all works out. And I thought these two colourways would work really well as an accent on that, as a pocket or a slip pocket. Yeah, so I picked up those two. So again, sort of dipping my toe into things that I hadn't really seen before. And that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to actually look at the quirky things that I've not really encountered before and take a few of those things away with me and have a play and sort of, yeah, see what I can make out of things like this. So at the same stall, they had fabrics, they had quilting fabrics, they had fat quarters, they had panels, they had loads of haberdashery items. And I went around the corner and they had Japanese inspired fabrics. Now, my 2 adult children are going to Japan this year. My daughter went last year and my son's decided to go along with her again this year when she goes. And I thought it'd be quite nice to make them up a little gift to take with them. So I picked up some of this Japanese inspired cotton. It's obviously the famous, is it upside down? The famous Japanese wave design. And I thought that would look really nice as a little pouch or wash bag, or a little pouch that they can put little bits and pieces in to take with them to Japan. And I thought, yeah, if I saw any fabric that I thought would match the bill, that I would pick some up. So that was the reason for buying that. I had an intention and I followed through and got the fabric. So yeah, I'm really pleased with that. Obviously there's a deadline, but they're not going till the end of November, so I have got a little bit of time to sort out a pattern and get it made up. But yeah, I'm really pleased with that. I bought that one and it's quite striking, isn't it? And they would definitely be surprised if I give them a little gift pouch to take on their travels. So yeah, thinking of other people that I could make things for, I also thought that I'd quite like to make an advent calendar. Never made one before, saw them at the Farnborough Craft Show, didn't buy any. But I thought it would have actually been a nice idea to have something like that at Nanny and Grandad's house when the grandchildren come round, creating a memory that when you come round, you've got the advent calendar that we put up every year, and there'll be a little sweet treat in there for those. And one of the stalls had advent calendars all made up, so you could see them ready made with the pockets and things. And then they had a deal that if you bought the advent calendar, you could get the wadding for the back and the backing sheet. You got it sort of at a discounted price as a kit, kind of like a kit. And I got this one, so it would have ordinarily cost £20. I got 15. It cost 15 for the whole shebang. And I chose this one because it had the Father Christmas and the homely display, but also because the pockets were quite large. I could put a couple of treats in there, or 2, or even, you know, more than that, treats in there, and they could share the same advent calendar, and it would be a memory that we can sort of create at our house for the little guys when they come round. So yeah, I'm really pleased with that. So, is that everything? One more thing. Shout it from the rooftops. I only bought the Japanese inspired fabric, the faux leather cork material, and one other fabric. And it was a fabric that I'd seen at Rainbow Fabrics, and I double round a few times, making my mind up. And don't get me wrong, there was lots of lovely fabric. There was lots of lovely fabric I could have bought, and I did consider. But there's also lots of fabric that I thought, I've got something very similar at home, or do I really need that enough? Do I really love it enough? And I was really good, and I went with intention, and I eventually doubled back and got this material. And I got this, it's got quite a bit of structure. It's almost like a cotton come denim type material. It's got quite a bit of structure. I picked up a couple of meters. Might be good for the new Tilly dress, although I'm not quite sure until I take a proper look at all the information on there. But I just thought it would be really nice to make up in a dress or structured trousers, but I'm aiming more towards a dress really. But I just loved it, and this was the only one that I just kept thinking, oh yeah, but there's that material, I want that material, I want that material. So this is the one I got, and this is the only one that I kept catching my eye that I really liked. And it's not gorgeous flowers, it's not super slinky, it's not really super soft or cozy, but I just liked it. And that was good enough for me, so I bought that one. I find that having all the fabrics out is amazing to see, but when there's so much fabric and there's so many people, and you've kind of got to say, yeah, I want a few meters of this, do I want a few meters of that, it can be a bit overwhelming, which is why I kept looking at the fabrics and walking away, looking at the fabrics, walking away. Do I really want it? Do I really love it? And I just thought it doesn't all have to be about the fabric today. I bought lots of other things that I was more than happy with, but I did double back and get this. And yeah, I've got quite a few lilac-y purple colours on my colour wheel. It's a cooler colour, which is kind of the way I've been told I should go. And yeah, so I was really pleased to have bought that from Rainbow Fabrics. So that was the only clothing fabric that I'd bought for myself. So when we met up at the minibus, there was a couple of us that had fabrics on from Carly's range, the Rooted Fabrics range. And I decided to wear my recent high cuff sweater make in her beetle viscose fabric that she recently bought out and just went down a storm. You know, whenever anybody saw it, they loved it. And yeah, I made that and I was super comfortable in it all day. And I was really pleased to have worn that and shown Carly what it looks like it made up in a garment. And I just wore that with some comfortable trousers. I knew I needed something to be comfortable wearing to travel as well as all day. And yeah, I was really pleased that I wore that. And I just love the pop of the colour, especially because I'd added the blue ribbing around the neck, the cuffs and the hemband. So now the sun's decided to shine in from the window aside me. I have finished my video, but that was my day at the Knit and Stitch show. Very long day, very enjoyable day. Really pleased I went, really pleased with everything I bought. I feel absolutely exhausted the next day, and I just wanted to upload and show you in a video everything that I'd got, and I just wanted to show you guys how the day went and my thoughts and feelings about it. Super happy with how the day went with my group of friends. And actually, it's only 1 week and we all meet again at our socials. So I'm no doubt we'll be chattering away at that. And I will be back again soon with another video and an update of what's going on in my sewing world and in my sewing room and what I've been up to. So thank you for watching my video. Please consider giving me a like and a subscribe. Any comments, stick them down below. And yeah, I will be back soon, and we will meet again in the next video. Till then, bye bye.